It's like when most of us, or actually all of us, are part water. Water has a very defined meaning for the human history through whole human life and in life in general on Earth. That as water is so much a part of us, it's also a part of our spirit. And this way we have a connection to water that we need to connect to the unity of water cycles. And oceans are a big thing. It's a very powerful thing, and we need to protect them. But the water cycles functioning is the main point about life on Earth being existing. There's a lot of very severe things going on in oceans, and we can see that, like now I'm looking at the forest outside the Helsinki window when I'm recording this, that we can see if somebody is destroying the landscape or it's all polluted, or the sky is all polluted. Sometimes we can see it, sometimes not, but we can taste pollution or we can feel the effects in our health. But when the ocean is not feeling well, it's difficult to see under the beautiful sunset that what is really going on in the deep levels of the ocean. And there are so many unfound things in the oceans, like the dark seas, the places where the sunlight does not penetrate anymore. And at this moment, there are programs with artificial intelligence. They are researching all this. And I'm just excited to hear those answers, what they're going to find in the near years. But I do believe that human has in their own being and own awareness abilities to connect to the nature so deeply that they can, in meditation practice or in their dreams or being present with waters, oceans and nature, they can feel those informations that the nature is giving them by connecting to them. So we're kind of going back to basics in this way, that we're taking away a lot of those impulses that are in the way of intuitions or that moment to connect with the nature, peacefully be at the oceans and just be free with the ocean. And on the boat or on the ship, just get those senses open and know what's going on. So I believe this is the main core of the future of how we can protect nature, is by our own connection to it. In this project, my job as a project coordinator, I'm the owner, I'm the person who's done the first beginning plans and designing the program. But I call myself the coordinator because I don't want to be the manager or the leader or someone who says something to others. I want to be the one who activates them to be involved. And this way, the word coordinator is best for my title, even though I practically run the program. Now, what we're trying to do is to go to the area which is naturally already there. And with this area, I mean what is inside the heart and in the human soul and spirit. That this is an unfound connection with the oceans that hasn't been spoken that much of yet and is not globally so familiar. That we can just go out there and say that all my senses and my core and body is talking to the whales, or it can connect to the storms and the hurricanes and feel by the ocean what the unity of the whole world is, just with my human abilities which are already there. So there's nothing mystical about all of this. It's just something that has not been used very widely yet. And this is our purpose. We're trying to activate what is inside people's own truth about connecting to the water cycles, oceans, protecting the environment, and enjoying the oceans as part of their lives, so that the distance is taken away. And you can be in a big city or in a small town. You can be by the oceans. You can be at the Arctic or the tropical. But you can, from a distance, get connected to the oceans that are far away with your own awareness in meditation practices and sharing stories with other people. So it's a very human feature to have that ability to, with your senses, to be able to connect to the nature all across the whole world. There was a lady who told me that she was amazed. She met a group of work contacts who had never seen the ocean. And to us over here up in the north, the ocean is always near us. We are in Helsinki, and then we go to the Arctic side by the Norwegian areas when we travel from our home in Lapland. But they had never seen the oceans, and I thought to myself, wow, there's a lot of work here to do. We need to give everybody this experience, how important the oceans are to them in their lives. Now, how can we do that? We can do that with internet, with teaching people methods how to do remote viewing, which is an intuitive ability that we have. We can share information. We can talk about different angles and emotions and how people see the oceans and water cycles. And this way, the more we feel those talks and stories are interesting and inspiring, then we get emotional like marks in the soul that we become interested in something when it has an emotional level in us. So this way, stories that we tell, how people either find ocean facts or have had experiences, is a way to make others be interested in oceans. And we believe that this way they will want to hold on to that water cycles functioning much more better when they have those emotions inside. When we look at the aspect of unity, which is physical and non-physical at the same time, visible and non-visible at the same time. So when we take the big picture, the macro and the unity, then we find new ways to look at it when we just take away that familiar way to think about it from the box or from our known culture. But we just let go of that and go to the macro and start to look at the world and the globe and different things that are going on there. And water cycles is such an interesting creative process. Nature has been like the biggest artist to make that, because all these water like phenomena, which can be really like fierce and at the same time so beautiful visually, remind a lot of sacred geometry, how the waves are moving together in complete sync like an orchestra symphony, or how the winds and the clouds and the waves and the movements in nature are all in sync together and somehow related to each other. Now this balance is in huge danger, and without everybody wanting to be involved, that change is not going to happen. So we can have some kind of a riot here, or we can have an association here who are trying to work for the oceans and the water cycles. But we must make a unity together as well. Just like the nature has done it, we must cooperate, share information, and just begin the work that is real. It comes from the heart and makes a connection to the water cycles in a way that they are part of our lives. As everything is a unity, the earth is one unity that has a balance of nature on it. Everything is intertwined and connected to each other. So are the deep sides of the ocean a part of the ecosystem in a very important and meaningful way. Now, we don't know that much about the deep oceans because human has eyesight and we don't have those capabilities in our body to go deep down to those deep areas in the ocean. When we can't see anymore, our bodies cannot endure those conditions, even in some kind of a diving equipment system around us. Some people have gone quite deep down, but there is so much unfound in these dark areas of oceans. Now we've created a team that is now using remote viewing to have a view at those dark areas where the eyesight is not the most powerful sense, but it is our awareness and intuitions that is now being used in this team. We're looking for old material from indigenous people, from spiritual history that is pretty much the same in old cultures. So those similar findings, same findings that they have found about the same issue, about the dark oceans, is the information that we're interested in. So these dark sea areas have a lot of information to give us regarding awareness and our own subconscious levels. So when other senses take over, then we begin to communicate with the parts that don't see and don't speak and don't hear, but they just know. And this connection makes this team very powerful and quite global, and we're working for the next 5 to 10 years. The See Now Light team is a very important team for the next years because we have now found the most renowned and best and skilled meditations individuals, and our team is going to expand all the time. So we're going to work for the next 5 to 10 years to find these people and get that team global and working and functioning. To the Oceans project is kind of a non-profit company project. It is raising funds, but every time it is taking in funds, it's also sharing them out. So it's buying blogs, video performance, different kind of team performances in the way that we have webinars, we have seminars, sometimes travel, but mostly try and share that information inside internet to be able to get that easy access to this information. So it's quick to share, but it's quick to find. And of course, internet is the best place to do so. To the Ocean project has 3 programs: Guardians of the Blue, and then there is the Arctic Cultures Mertenluo Program, which got a name from Finland, of course, where we live and where we are born. And also a spiritual program, which is about oceans and spirituality. These 2 first programs, Guardians of the Blue and then the Arctic program, are the ones which are being sponsored and they get funds. But the 3rd program is cost-free. Now we want to keep the spirituality side without any kind of funding need or any kind of payment side, in the way that it's a tight part of this program or this operations, but it is always free from any kind of thinking of money or having to pay or having to fund it. So these other 2 sides are funding the 3rd one. So we are actually being equally sponsoring ourselves than being sponsored. And this is an important part of our functioning. To the Ocean project is not really about making funds or expanding in a money-wise. We see money and funding as a part of the functioning side of how we work. So we raise sponsorship projects and we do different kind of webinars and educational programs, but we never keep that money. So we put the money to circulate, and we buy blogs and we buy performers. So we're always like waters, we're moving all the time, like something comes in and something goes out. And this is the element of this program that is always like moving and always changing, always evolving. So it's looking for that moment in the time, but it's never holding on to the yesterday. So just like water cycles, they're always very related to the impact of that moment and always changing. And we do the same. So To the Oceans project is trying to educate people to think that we can be free with ocean environmental programs without having to be too much like holding on to some certain philosophy or some way how to relate to the oceans. We can choose our own way and be a part of it and an active part. So everybody has their own heart, their own relationship to the nature by their own choice. And we are interested to hear about your selections for this. So as long as you are for ocean protection, you are our kind of a person. As long as it follows the law and takes care of the future of the oceans, then we're not asking how you're doing it. But of course, we want a non-violent program and try to enhance positive thinking and a very life-oriented way to have an approach to the environment. You can cooperate with To the Oceans project by purchasing one of our logo places at the web pages. If you have a company that is interested in the program or as a person, so it's completely possible to do that as a private person as well. It doesn't have to be a firm, but it is your selection how. And then to take part in writing blogs and joining webinars and joining our educational programs. So with those sponsorship inputs and deals, we fund those webinars and programs to be able to keep sharing that information that we gather from different factors. You can also share us your story for us to share it to other people, how the oceans are very important in your life, and especially if it's an inspiring and kind of exciting or even a new way to look at the oceans, we are particularly interested in that. Okay. So please be connected with emails and send us your story. But if you want to fund this program, please contact and tell us a way how you think that would work best for us both to find a good place to do that with the real reasons and good values, how we want to protect the oceans for all of our future.